Good to see you all. This morning I wanted to bring to your attention Be More Beautiful, which is the theme for this year's spring cleanup. For those of you who don't know, it begins this Saturday at 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Some of us will be out there a little bit longer. I'm excited because we have more than, 200 groups from around the city, community associations. Oh, it's 250 now. Thank you, Pete. And I want to thank all of our city agencies that have collaborated to help us with this effort. You know, the word for our agencies is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. The Department of Public Works, the Department of Transportation, the Departments of Parks and Recreation, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhoods, the Baltimore City Police Department, and the Baltimore Housing Department. Before I turn this over to DPW Director Chow to share more information on Saturday's event, I also thought it would be important to hear a few words from Pete Hammond, who has been in charge of trying to make this happen and has worked with the various departments to connect everybody together. I hope you will join us because Be More Beautiful is our theme for the spring clean, and we are really excited about it, and we want to clean up our city, and we want to make sure that everybody gets out, picks up a shovel, a broom, whatever they think is necessary to help us make our city more beautiful. Pete, did you want to share a few words?
Sure. As the mayor had indicated, we have this Saturday, there'll be roughly about 250 community groups participating in the spring cleanup. We'll have about 5,000 volunteers. The entire cabinet, the mayor's cabinet, will be participating. They will either be working in their own neighborhood, or they will be going to one of the 3 stops that the mayor has on her agenda. We will be rolling out the new Be More Beautiful. This is the new and improved Clean Corps. It's a peer-to-peer effort where we're working with community folks. Community folks will essentially serve. There will be a block captain. They will be working with their neighbors to talk about best practices, making sure that people understand when we have trash pickup and recycling pickup, making sure that there are eyes and ears out on the street to determine needs for change. For example, if there's graffiti or a pothole or a sign that needs to be replaced, all that is kind of coordinated and called into the city. We can work together, but peer-to-peer, having folks really engaged in cleanliness and working with their neighbors to improve the condition of the neighborhoods, that's what it's all about. And with that, I will turn it over back to the mayor.
And now to Mr. Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Hammond had put out a teaser out there to give you some information about Be More Beautiful, right? So you want to know more about it, please come out this Saturday. We're going to start our day at the Library Square, and at 9 o'clock, that's where you're going to learn more about Be More Beautiful, what's that mean, what's all involved. As being stated, we have more than 259 communities that have signed up. We have more than 5,000 volunteers out there. This is the largest number of citizen participation since 2005. It's super exciting to have the mayor's cabinet is going to be joining all of us out there this year. And I think all of us are going to get our hands dirty and get down and do some real work. But the point I want to stress is that cleaning up is just not a one-day effort. It's an everyday effort. The department tried and worked very hard in the recent years to try to transform ourselves to become more effective, more efficient. The fact that we rolled out, for example, our municipal trash cans, expanded the street sweeping to citywide, and expanded our rat eradications to become more proactive rather than being driven by 311. We basically proactively bait these rat barrels out there, as well as we recently opened up our Northwest Transfer Station for small hauler. And more importantly, we have now reorganized ourselves into a quadrant setup. So that means within each quadrant management and the team is responsible for their specific footprint and to get more closer to the community as a whole. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you out there Saturday along with the mayor and the cabinet member. As the mayor says, collaboration, collaboration, collaborations.
Very good.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for them? So you are going to join them? Thank you for joining them. That's going to be really exciting. I am making my cabinet members write down exactly where they're going to be because we'll be checking on them for their participation. But thank you all. Thanks. So I have one other announcement before I open it up for questions for me. We have Baltimore has become among 40 other cities who participate in the National Youth Poet Laureate Program. And just last week, we held our competition here at City Hall in cooperation with the library. And so we are able to announce our Poet Laureate. But before we do so, I would like to have our CEO of our acting CEO of the library, Gordon Krabby, come talk to us a little bit about this program, how it got started, and how we ended up with the individual that we'll announce in a few minutes that is a part of this. But I also want to take a moment to thank Kenneth Morrison. He's the executive director of Do Be More. He is one of the orchestrators of this particular program, and he's been involved for, over 3 years now? Yes. At least. Thank you. Gordon?
Good morning, Mayor. I know this is a great day for you, particularly because you write yourself and you love poetry. Congratulations to Muhammad.
I got a 10, by the way.
Yes.
When I recited my poem, the committee gave me a 10. Everybody.
Undoubtedly. Well deserved.
Very smart committee.
Well, congratulations to Muhammad, our city's new youth poet laureate.
I'm supposed to do that.
Oh, I think it was in my...
No, well, don't do
Okay.
that part.
I won't announce it then. Okay. Well, congratulations to our new youth poet laureate. I'm Gordon Krabby, acting CEO of the Pratt Library.
What I want you to do, Mr. Krabby, see, he's so, he's interim, so he's not used to standing before y'all. You're making him nervous. Tell him about how we are among the 40 cities and why this is important.
Okay.
And how the library participates.
Well, I may need to get our
You need me to hold your...
I may need to get Naila up here. She's our superstar from the Pratt Library, who's a judge for the competition. I may need to get Naila up here. Naila,
You want to come up and...
come on, explain how that part of it.
Okay, then you can come back and congratulate.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you,
No problem.
Madam Mayor. Good morning, everybody. I am Naila Whitaker, and I represent Enoch Pratt Free Library as well as Do More Baltimore. We are one of 40 cities that host the Youth Poet Laureate, and this is something that Enoch Pratt supports because of literature and just really getting the word out about social activism and promoting the things that youth need for our city. Our new youth poet laureate, once you meet him.
We'll introduce him.
Okay.
But you know what you can announce?
Yes.
Introduce the 2015 and the 2016.
Okay.
What is this, our third year?
Yes. Okay, so this is the third year that we've had our youth poet laureate. Our first youth poet laureate was Derek Ebert. Our second youth poet laureate for 2016 is Hannah Sawyer. And we're looking forward to our next youth poet laureate doing amazing things for Baltimore City and representing the Enoch Pratt Library as well as Baltimore, Maryland throughout the country. Thank you.
Very good. And Hannah, you step forward. This was our 2016 Poet Laureate. So, as Poet Laureate, how many poems did you get to do around the city?
Quite a few. A lot of writing, a lot of editing. It was great.
So, do you know your poems by heart?
I know a lot of poems.
Okay, well, do one for us.
How much time do I have?
Just a few minutes.
Okay.
Not one of those long ones. Not like mine.
3 minutes?
Shorter.
Okay. I have a 90-second version of a 3-minute poem.
Okay, that's the one.
That's the one. Okay, I'm gonna do a poem, one of the poems that I won the competition with. It's about my father and being a first-generation American. My father is a refugee from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Freetown is the largest city in Sierra Leone, originally the home of freed slaves. Foolish is the American that believes as a lone man seeks freedom when it's already instilled in him. America has a way of treating immigrants as if its foundation wasn't built on the backs of them. America, you are no savior. You cannot grant the freed man freedom. You cannot give us a lone man access to your land and believe you are showing him liberty. We already know what that air feels like. No wonder my father says the air here feels uncomfortable. So when an immigrant speaks of feeling uncomfortable, just know you are in the presence of man that knows what the sting of assimilation is. When two elephants are fighting, don't you know it's the grass that suffers? So when these forefathers fought and murdered the people that originally owned this forsaken land, just know it hasn't recovered since. This land still echoes their screams. This ground has only been used as imprisonment. Its constitution is the world's greatest captivity narrative, and it's still being written. We got wannabe politicians saying they want to make America great again, but have you ever known America to do anything for the foreign man? America, this land, is just as foreign to you as it is to my father. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now for our 2017 Poet Laureate, Muhammad Tall.
My dad's taller
So,
than me.
so your dad is tall,
Nah, I'm taller than my dad.
so you're taller than your dad. So let me bestow this medal upon you. You get to serve as Baltimore's Poet Laureate. Would you like to share?
Yeah. Good morning. Before I say anything else, I want to give thanks to God, because if it wasn't for Him and His mercy, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. Secondly, I want to give thanks to my mother for her endless sacrifice in getting me to this position. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be anywhere in this life. I could share a short piece?
Yes.
Or something short? Okay. Don't you know they praying on your downfall, King? Don't you know that Moses is coming for you, King? Don't you know that I've seen magicians turn servants, staffs turn serpents, pharaohs go preserved, and prophets go unheard, King? So tell me, what's the word, King? Because I've seen man take golden calf for God. And I've seen God bring terror on man for forgetting who God is. King, and God is King. They will try to apartheid your apostle. So make sure you stay humble. Thank you.
So Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
And wear your title well.
Well, definitely.
I also have Mecca Verdell, who's our runner-up. Thank you. And Sadi Bashir, who is also one of our runner-ups. Thank you all. And I want to let Kenneth say a few words because you've been engaged in this for the last 3 years. Would you like to share?
Again, good morning, everyone. So I am the president and founder of Do More Baltimore, and we are the organization, a nonprofit that's dedicated to using art as a tool to get people more engaged in community. So a few years ago, we had the luxury of traveling the country to find art programs that we believe that we could bring to Baltimore that really helps create a platform for young voices. And so we had the pleasure of partnering with an organization called Urban Word that's based out of New York when they launched the Youth Poet Laureate program, which is now again in 40 cities. So we were the third city to implement this program in the country. And we are excited to see how well the city has embraced this program and all the partners that have stepped up to ensure this platform can be made possible for our young people. So again, as the president of Do More Baltimore, I want to thank the city of Baltimore. I want to thank Enoch Pratt Library. I have it. Baltimore City Public Schools, Baltimore County Public Schools, Micah, John Hopkins, and all the other partners who have stepped up again to ensure that this platform can be made possible, because we really believe that young people's voices are important. So we fought hard to make this possible, and I'm just excited to see how the city fought with us. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Can you spell your name for us?
M-O-H-A-M-E-D. Last name Tall. T-A-L-L.
Any questions for them?
How old are you?
19.
Step up.
You said Tallow, Tallo? No, Tall. Yeah.
Are you in college right now?
Yeah.
Where at?
Morgan State University.
What year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Studying.
Political science.
I was a business major. I know nobody cares. Nobody cares. But, you know, it is my alma mater. I just thought I would chime in. Feeling very Morganitish.
What are your literary influences?
Mayor Pugh, no.
People like Amir Suleiman, Amiri Baraka, Lupe Fiasco, Jay-Z, yeah, Maya Angelou,
It's a nice combination there.
definitely.
And how many people apply for this, or how does that?
How many?
Yes, so we actually are currently right now enrolled in over 15 schools across Baltimore City. So we have hundreds of students that are aware of the program. To make it to as a finalist, the top 12 step forward and become a finalist out of the hundreds of students who, in some level, participate in the program. So we can say easily about 200 students across the board wrote poems, of which the top 25 were reviewed by 10 judges, and then the top 11 made it to the final competition here at City Hall.
And those 15 schools are all high schools in the city?
Yes, so we're high schools and middle schools. And then we partner with colleges as well. So colleges, middle schools, and high schools.
Any other questions? Go Morgan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, open for questions.
Mayor, the feds are announcing this morning that the now almost 3-year-old murder of a 3-year-old, Kenzie Elliott, there have been some individuals indicted in connection with that. It was a high-profile case, obviously before your tenure as mayor. But if you just have any response to that.
Well, let me just say we're grateful to the federal intervention on behalf of the city of Baltimore, and I think I said this about a week or so ago. We are looking for all the help that we can get. As you well know, our murder rate is up. Murder is out of control. Too many guns, I continue to say, on our streets. Domestic violence is increasing in our city. And so we have asked for federal help. You'll hear more about that a little bit later on, the kind of help that we will be getting. And so, yes, we are grateful that we've moved forward on this particular case.
When you say later, do you mean later today, or when will we be?
No, I'm expecting some response in reference to some requests that we've made. We should know probably by the end of next week.
The end of?
I would think by sometime next week, the additional help that we're asking for.
What requests have you made?
Just more assistance by our FBI partners here.
This would be more FBI on the street, or sort of what would be the parameters?
The conversation has been around what kind of assistance they can provide, what additional assistance they can provide us. We do believe that we need more people on the street. As you well know, in terms of technology and so forth, we've done some things as it relates to, since Freddie Gray, body cameras on police officers, cameras inside of our vans, and trying to implement some new technology. We understand that there's some more technology out there that the city has not had access to, and so we've made some requests. And again, I should know more information by the middle of next week.
So this is just to clarify, equipment from the FBI, or is this actual FBI personnel?
Both.
So there would be actual FBI people.
That's part of our request.
Do you know how many?
I don't know yet. I don't
These
know
would
yet.
be FBI agents that are working now because there's been involvement in FBI task
Right,
force.
absolutely, yes.
So
So my conversation is around what kind of assistance, what additional assistance can we bring to Baltimore? I'm not sure how many FBI agents are currently working in Baltimore. I need to know those numbers, but I know we need additional help. As you well know, these numbers continue to escalate, and that is a big problem. We know opioid addiction is a major problem in our city. We know unemployment is an issue in our city, and we're working on all of those fronts. But, I'm calling on all the assistance that we can possibly get, because I can't imagine going into our summer months with the crime rate where it is today, what that's going to look like by the end of the summer.
When did you make this request to the Justice Department, or what was the mechanics?
We have an FBI person on the ground here in Baltimore who's in charge of FBI engagement in Baltimore City. So we're having conversations now.
What about the state? Have you had conversations with the state of adding any state police or anything like that?
No,
So
no.
this is federal?
Federal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be really clear here, because this is obviously a new step
Mm-hmm.
to get additional resources on the street. You are asking the special agent in charge of the Baltimore field office for additional FBI personnel to work with the Baltimore Police Department?
I'm asking for more federal help for our Baltimore Police Department from our FBI partners. I'm also looking at our police department to make sure that, as you well know, we probably got more people in our academy now than we've ever had. I think we got 3 full classes now in our police department. So I think that's over 100 and some odd individuals who are currently enrolled in our academy. We have a class that should be graduating very shortly, and a class that might be about 5 or 6 weeks in, another class now going into the academy. So we've got about at least over 100 and some odd people who are being trained to be Baltimore City police officers.
Madam Mayor, police, biggest agency in the city, gets the most money.
No,
Why can't?
not true,
Okay.
not true.
Who gets the most money?
Schools and recreation get the most money.
But is that out of the general, isn't that out of the general obligation funds that police are the highest?
Out of the general obligation funds,
Out of general funds.
out of general funds, our highest is to children and youth, education and youth. I think if you look at the chart,
Departmentally though, wouldn't it be the police?
departmentally, Parks and Recreation and Education and after-school programs would be our highest. We classify them under youth. What are we spending on our young people? And you have to remember, in 1997, we separated the school system's budget from the state's budget. So when you look at that from that perspective, in terms of what we spend on education and what we spend on police, we spend more on education than we do on police.
Police have a lot of resources. Why can't the police solve this crime problem on its own?
Because I don't think you can go inside people's houses where domestic violence is occurring and stop people from hurting each other. You know, it's not just something that they can just stop because somebody has a gun in their hand. We also know that there are a number of guns that have been stolen that are on our streets. You know, people are trading drugs for guns and guns for drugs. And so, I mean, this, I think, is a bigger problem than just the Baltimore City Police Department. This is a community problem. This is relationship problems. And, you know, trying to wrap our arms around all of these issues, whether it is drug addiction. You know, when I walk up and down certain streets in our city, it's like a march to nowhere. When you look at, you see the drugs on our streets. You see the people who are drug addicted. More drug overdoses in our city than ever before. I mean, the governor himself has declared a state of emergency. This is not just Baltimore's problem. This is a problem statewide. It's a problem nationwide.
Mayor, the Mackenzie Elliott case has taken on, I think, great symbolic value for the city. Here's a 3-year-old girl playing on her porch when she's hit by a stray bullet. Former Commissioner Betts promised he would close the case by the weekend. It never happened. It sort of stood out there as this example of the inability of police to get leads from the community and solve cases. What does it mean? What does it mean as a symbol? Even though this is a real human being we're talking about as a terrible tragedy, what does it mean for the city as a whole?
To be able to close cases like this, I think it's good for the city, but we want to get beyond closing cases. We need to get the murder rate down. It is symbolic that a case like this stayed open as long as it has, but when you look at our closure rate now, which has increased, I think it's a good thing. It sends a signal, I hope, to those who are committing crimes in our communities that you can no longer continue to do this, that you will be found, you will be caught, you will prayerfully serve the time, because people's lives are valuable. I mean, I can't imagine losing a 3-year-old. I can't imagine losing anyone's life and what that family suffers through.
And then also, do you think that there is any connection between our spiking murder rate and the dramatically spiking overdose deaths?
Absolutely, absolutely I do. I mean, I've come down the streets early in the morning. As you well know, I don't go home by way of 83 or or come downtown by way of 83. It's riding through the neighborhoods and the communities. And some of these neighborhoods, you can see early in the morning people scattering to go get drugs, scattering from one corner to the other, hiding in alleys. You know, I never forget the first time I saw a call for, I think they call it a drug tasting. I didn't know what was going on. I was coming up McCullough Street and I just saw a line of people. And I'm like, well, what's going on? I went back around the corner because I'm like, is there something happening here? Only to find out that we do something like drug tasting in the city. I mean, yeah, I'd never seen anything like that before. So you see it.
So part of, stemming from that, what is moving forward for jobs? What are you doing to ensure that there is employment in the city and that people that maybe are on the streets now unemployed, turning to drugs, are going to find jobs? Okay, so a couple of things that we're doing. I don't know if you know that just a couple of weeks ago, our first mobile unit is now out on the street with the Enoch Pratt Library. And with the help of Exelon, we're now moving through the city to those particular neighborhoods where unemployment is at its highest, trying to get people employed. I've gone to the private sector. I've got about at least 1 to 2 more units that should be up and ready, prayerfully by the end of this year. Again, I think we have a responsibility because in many of those neighborhoods, people just don't think you care. And, they've given up hope. So I think we got to take jobs to individuals. We're talking to companies and corporations. Just yesterday, I think it was the Center for Urban Families and Under Armour who partnered to offer jobs to individuals. So we're trying to go to some of those untraditional places, that not waiting for people to come for a job, but going directly to them. I was just on Pennsylvania Avenue, I think it was last week, and when I got out of the van at Pennsylvania North, a bunch of guys gathered around and said, oh, Mayor, just want to say hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. And I think it was five individuals who walked up to me and said, we want to go to work. Can you help us get a job? So we took their names. One person's phone number does not work. One person has not followed through. 3 people are actually interviewing on Thursday with the Department of Public Works. So what I've said to my agencies and what I say to employers is we need jobs now. And so we need to identify those jobs now. And to the extent that we can get people working, let's get them working. How do you bring employers into Baltimore, though? How do you have companies set up here that people want to work in? What is? Well,
they are coming here. When you think about what Amazon is doing, Amazon hired 1,000 people from Baltimore City. And they're working. And not only are they working, after about a year or 2, they get to share in stock options. They tell me that from college students on to people living in neighborhoods are now working there. So the other thing is, just yesterday I was speaking to the BWI partnership, and there are a lot of jobs that are surrounding Baltimore, and transportation just is not what it should be. And so after I spoke yesterday, what they said to me is maybe this is the time now, because I acknowledge that I know that there are people who work in the Arundel Mills area. I'll never forget a conversation with David Hillman there, and he said it takes 2.5 hours to go from downtown on transportation, especially during certain hours of the day, just to Arundel Mills in that area. It takes 2.5 hours to get there, 2.5 hours to get back. 60% of the people who work there are from Baltimore City. And transportation is a really important problem that we have to deal with. So bringing together the BWI partnership, because these are the businesses in that area who hire people, along with our Department of Transportation and MTA, it just doesn't seem like rocket science to me to be able to run transportation from downtown metro station out to the airport, out to BWI, because we've got a lot of job opportunities there.
Speaking of transportation, as you know, Baltimore Link is going to be launched by the MTA in the next couple of months. Have you been providing the administration? I know when you were a state senator, you wanted to make sure that at least the kids are taken care of, but have you expounded on that with the current administration?
Yeah, I mean, we just brought back $5.5 million just for our young people so that they can ride transportation for free. But also we're working with the Transportation Department and MTA. One of the things that I think is really important, because a lot of changes are going to be made, and I've been in some of those conversations and in those community meetings, and I think they've done a fair job of informing people. But, I think we have a responsibility to work with them to make sure that people know what the changes are going to be.
Madam Mayor, what's the current status of the red light and speed camera program in terms of testing, in terms of finding a vendor?
Okay, I have to get you that exact date when they will be up and running, supposed to be up and running in May. I know that we are testing, we're still going through a testing right now. I tell people when you flip the switch, it's not always perfect, but we want this to be as near perfect as possible. And so I know we're still in the testing phase. We should be up and running, supposed to be in May. So I'm looking forward to us doing it right.
And there's a private vendor that's doing that?
I think there are 2 private vendors. One will be the red light camera and the other camera.
And they went through the Board of Estimates?
I don't think they haven't gone through the Board of Estimates yet.
So you're doing testing, what, internal of the 2 programs?
Yes.
By the 2 groups?
Yes.
But they've been pre-selected, or? No. So what's the process on proceeding there in terms of you selected 2? I mean, how did?
We've identified 2. We have tested the various systems. We've actually also had conversations with other cities to see how their programs are working, because we just want to make sure that we do this as close to perfect as possible. I understand there were some problems in the last program, and has not been up and working in Baltimore for how many years now?
3 years. 3 years. Yeah.
3 years. Yeah.
And do you have the names of the 2 vendors?
I don't, not yet.
So a vendor will be the 2 final vendors will be chosen before the cameras go online?
Oh, absolutely.
Before the Board of Estimates?
Yes, they have to come through the Board of Estimates.
Madam Mayor, I saw your comments in the Bruce story, actually, from the Board of Finance the other day, mentioning that you did not want to see a hotel go up as part of the renovations of the convention center?
No, that's not what I said. I don't know how they wrote that. That's not what I said. What I said was that the convention center says that they need a new hotel as it relates to the expansion of the convention center. And, you know, they have to come back to me and help me understand why that is important when we have the Hilton Hotel, which was also a part of the convention center, that we just refinanced. And those numbers, in my opinion, need to be incorporated into whatever strategy the convention center says that they need.
Well, do you support in general growing the convention center size?
I support growing the convention center because it is a big economic engine for the city. But what I am very cautious of is how we distribute monies in the city as it relates to economic development, because I have some corridors in the city that I'm very concerned about that need to be fixed. And we've got to dedicate money to the corridors of the city, to neighborhoods that have been neglected for decades. You know, whether it is Park Heights, Druid Heights, the EBDI area, East Baltimore, those areas deserve attention. And if we're going to, you know, we want to attract visitors to our city, but we also want to attract homeowners to our city. I mean, they are the ones who support, to the largest extent, our tax base.
What about putting an arena on the site? I know that's been floated by other people.
I've heard that one. Now, nobody's come to me about that one, but I can tell you that I have had conversations around Pimlico, because that's in the northwest corridor of the city, and that's our Super Bowl every single year. And we've been told through the report that it's about $300 million to redo Pimlico, and I say $300 million could build a new one. And so I'm having conversations around that as well, and what will it take to invest in that part of the city to bring some economic development and economic relief to that area, because I think that that would help us spur the development in the rest of that part of the city.
Who specifically have you talked to in regards to Pimlico? Because you've spoken to the owners of the track?
Yes, yes.
Can you characterize at all what you've discussed with them?
How excited it would be just to keep the Preakness here. They also emphasize the fact that the Preakness has grown in the location. I think it was 13,000 or 18,000 more people attended in the rain and in the mud last year, and that they would love to see the Preakness stay in Baltimore. But the $300 million is essential to its development and growth. And we want to work with them while they work with us.
Have you spoken with Kevin Plank about a track?
No, I haven't. Should I, Jane? He likes horses.
I had
Yeah.
heard that he wanted to build a track down there.
Okay, well,
Covington, but it was never any of the plans.
We need one in Pimlico.
Yeah.
Pimlico. Port Covington has all of its assets. We need Pimlico.
Does the Store Night Group, in your opinion, do you think that they're open to spending $300 million on fixing it?
I don't know that they're open to spending the entire 300. I know that they're open to a discussion around how we create what is needed. I think this next part of the study will help us to identify where those monies will come from.
Anything else, folks?
Thank you.
Thank you.